Hey there, folks, and welcome back for this insomniac edition of a shaving video. I don't know, it's about 1 a.m. on Tuesday. I just can't sleep, so I figured I'd get up and use a little lavender, Ménage, Lavande, or Lavande, or however you say it. Dopey name, as always, by Catie's Bubbles. Maybe the lavender will relax me and I can go back to sleep. I don't know. We shall find out. I just could not sleep, so figured let's get up, shower, get a shave on, and see how we do. This is a beautiful soap, by the way. If you like lavender, absolutely top notch. It comes to you for about $3.50 an ounce, I believe, and today we're going to use the big Maggard synthetic, and we'll load up and get going again. Sometimes lavender is calming. Maybe that will aid with some sleep. I am tired, but I cannot sleep. It has nothing to do with the election. I'll be happy when this thing is over. You know, I've seen so much nastiness over this election, and it really bothers me that people will draw a conclusion, or will draw conclusions, I should say, about people based on who they're voting for. So if you're voting for Hillary, for example, everybody thinks you don't believe in a border and you want to hand out freebies to everybody, and you don't think following the law is important because Hillary's crooked and all the rest of it. You know, they just draw a conclusion that everyone who votes for Hillary is out for the freebies and who knows what. On the other hand, if you vote for Trump, you're a racist and a misogynist and all the rest. And it's so unfortunate to be labeled as such, because both candidates have policy issues that people can get behind. For example, Clinton's talking about making college affordable for families that make under $120,000 or something. That's something people could get behind. Maybe that's something that's important to them or whatever. Trump, on the other hand, talks about trying to keep jobs in America and putting taxes or tariffs, whatever you want to call it, on goods from American companies that move outside of America. When they come back in, taxing them 35% in an effort to bring back those manufacturing jobs to the U.S. That's something that Trump supporters, for example, might agree with, or if you're an energy worker. But people always draw the worst conclusions instead of understanding that maybe these people are coal miners. They work in the energy industry. So they're voting for Trump on that basis. Or if you're Hillary, you're voting for, or if you're a Hillary supporter, you're voting for her on some other basis. But they don't. You're a racist, you're unethical, you're a butthole, whatever. It's very unfortunate. Stand by, let's wet the face and get going. I've seen people say matter-of-factly, if you're voting for Trump, you're a racist. And first of all, I'm not. So let's just, in the interest of full disclosure, as I've said before, I can't vote for either one of these. I don't find either to be acceptable to me on policy levels, on personal levels. And let's be honest, all the people who have gone around talking about character, if you care about character in this election, if that's something that is important to you from the perspective of a presidential candidate, you can't vote for either of these people. You can't. Because both of them are as flawed as the day is long. So you have people going, oh, Trump is a horrible person. But, I mean, you can, if you even remotely have followed Hillary, you'll know she is no saint herself. And so, either way you go, it's not good. It's the, proverbial double-edged sword. You're going to get cut either way. And so for people to matter-of-factly accuse others of being racist or, on the other hand, if you like Hillary, supporting freebies, as if they have no other reason for voting, I think is really, it's offensive and unfortunate. But that's where we are. And it's what these two candidates have given us. And so I'll be glad when it's over. And I will cast my vote for neither. Either the Libertarian or Constitutional Party member, or most people don't even know there is a constitutionalist on the ballot, or at least here. Anyway, my point is I can't stomach either of them. And I'm an independent, although admittedly I'm more conservative on issues. I typically tend to be a little more conservative than liberal. However, when it comes to liberties, I'm more libertarian. So I'm sort of a libertarian, maybe, as it were. I'm big on our liberties and rights and all the rest of it. And I don't really find that either of these candidates are acceptable on this basis. That's just my personal feeling. So I won't be voting for either of them, and I'm happy not to be. Just me. Okay. That was an excellent first pass. Let's come back for pass two. So if I'm stumbling over my words, it's because I'm tired. But I have to say, this lavender, this Catie's Bubbles, really is certainly relaxing and sort of certainly helps with feeling a little more mellow, which is what I'm looking for after, again, and I have had a number of debates with people, friends on my Facebook friends and so forth about any number of things related to the election. And what's really troubling to me now is Obamacare. And I do realize that I have never said that Obamacare was totally a horrible thing and it serves no good purpose, because that's not true. It did provide coverage for a lot of people who didn't have it. Let's be fair. What concerns me, however, is that people are ignoring all these letters that are going out, including friends of mine on Facebook, a number of them now, who have had their rates increased at dramatic levels. So in some cases they were paying, say $700, and it went up to over $1,000. In some cases they were paying $1,200, and it went up to $1,800. And these plans are carrying high deductibles, $6,000, all the way up to $14,000, some cases even greater. And these are working class, middle class people, not wealthy people. But they make just enough money so there's no subsidy for them. And now all of a sudden, they are faced with paying the equivalent of a second mortgage just for health insurance, whereas they weren't before in most cases, or at least in the cases of my friends who have received these letters. And the fact that people are ignoring this, it's really troubling to me how, well, you know, that's only a few people. No, it's not. If you look around, you'll see one after the other popping up. I just got my letter. My rate has increased $300, $400, $500 a month. Holy cow. If you're making, you know, think about that. If you're making $100,000 a year, let's say you and your wife together, which is not a lot of money, and your insurance rate increases, the equivalent of another mortgage or a car payment at minimum. I mean, it's catastrophic in some cases. That's why it's really troubling to me. And there's another troubling factor that I'll get to. Stand by. So one of the things that I've often considered is when I retire, is starting my own business of some sort. Most likely not shaving. I don't really have any interest in that. But a small business, right? So think about what happens if I retire early, because I'm eligible to retire from my employer, which a lot of people like to do. They like to retire early from their employer so they can pursue, something else, work on their own or what have you. But now, with Obamacare, you're faced with a very tough decision. Do you keep working for your employer who provides subsidized health coverage for you? Or do you go out on your own hoping then you can make enough money to afford Obamacare? That's a serious consideration. And what does that do? What does that do? The net result of that is the potential for having some person not creating a small business because they can't afford it. Because it's more important for them to maintain their health care coverage that they're receiving from their employer. So if I were going to open up a small business, and here in West Virginia the cost of living is not particularly high. So let's say I made $100,000 a year in my business, and that was what I made. Then I would have to pay up $20,000 for health insurance with high deductible. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to pursue that business and maybe hire a couple of people, give them a job? If now I'm already going to have to take an enormous step back in terms of health insurance. Because if you work for a place that gives you decent health insurance, it's generally cheaper because they subsidize it. But if you created your own business and you made equivalent amount of money, you're paying out of pocket for the entire thing, no subsidization. So you got to think about that. It very much could be a job killer, because I have to think seriously now about whether I want to work longer for the purposes of subsidized health insurance. And that is not a good thing when you consider my goal may have been to start a small little business, hire 4 or 5 people, just make enough to get by when you take into consideration you're getting a retirement, a small retirement. That's a problem. And it's a problem that I haven't heard anybody really discuss. All right, that was a great shave. Let's stand by for a moment while I rinse the face. We'll come back and do the post. All right, so let's use our Thayers because it's magic made by witches. And while I'm doing that, just think about those things. There's no doubt that a lot of people got coverage that didn't have it, and that's wonderful. But there's a lot of things that I don't think people have thought through, including the fact that states who took the federal money for Medicaid expansion, of which West Virginia is one, the feds covered the first few years of that expansion. I can't remember whether it was 5 years, 4 years, whatever. But the states are going to have to foot the bill for that because the federal money will no longer cover it at a certain point. What happens then? We're already in a deficit situation here in terms of budget. That's a problem. So now we've got to eat this increased Medicaid cost as well. Tax collections are way down because of the loss of coal revenue. That puts us in a serious pickle. So yet another of those maybe unintended consequences. By the way, I'm using fine lavender. This one to me is not quite as good as the old one. I really do prefer the old one, but This one is still good. It's kind of like the green fine. I think it's called Clean Vetiver. The newer one, just for me, the scent is not nearly as good as the old. And the same thing with this one. However, if you're looking for a lavender aftershave, I'm going to go for a third round just because I need it. I need that mellow lavender effect. Anyway, this one's still good. I just think the old one was beautiful. This one's just good. But, you know, as far as lavender aftershaves goes, still very nice. I like fine products. Overall, I found them to be very good value. All right, once again, today we used Catie's Bubbles, Ménage a Lavande, great soap. Dopey name, as always. We used a vintage Gillette here. I believe that's a new style comb, if I'm not mistaken. This one happens to unscrew and pull out this way, kind of like a Merker, which is pretty cool. Delivered a nice shave. I did get one little weeper down there, I noticed, or creeper, but nothing to really worry about. I do definitely feel better after having gotten a nice shave, so maybe I'll get some sleep. Maybe I'll stay up until it's time to vote at 6:30 and take a nap later today. I don't know, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoy your day, and please don't make judgments about people and assume the worst when it comes to their vote. Don't do that. It's not fair to them. You don't know why they're voting for a candidate unless they tell you. So to say that, you know, Trump supporters are racist, that's not good for them. And to say that Hillary supporters are all out to get something for nothing, it's just not fair. Try to be a little more respectful of your fellow man, please. And until next time, let's make America shave again.